If you are looking for a better way to understand strategy or go to market strategy, then stick with me because I am going to break down absolutely everything that you need to know to make go to market strategy simple. I'm here to remove all of the complexities associated with it. All right. So, through this video, I'm going to go through the three critical parts that make up strategy so you can understand strategy better and you can do strategy better. So maybe you're a revenue leader and you've been asked, hey, go fix the strategy. Or maybe you're even a rep and someone mentions strategy on a call and you're like, I don't even know what that means. Then I am going to make you feel so much more confident in your ability to understand strategy and do strategy that you are going to hopefully celebrate afterwards. Okay. So what we're going to do is if you stick with me right until the end, I've even added a bonus. I can't tell you what that is yet. You're going to have to stay with me right until the end. All right. So hopefully, once you get through this video, it's going to save you hours of time and thousands of dollars or euros or pounds in expenses and trying to figure out how do I pay someone to help me understand this? What books should I read to understand this? What things and courses? It's all here for free on YouTube. All right. Let's get into it. So we're going to get into strategy, everything to do with strategy. And as I said, we're going to go through the three critical pieces that I believe make up go to market strategy. Now, just to give you some background, I guess I've always done strategy because I've been in sales for almost, I think it's about 16 years now. And I've done all the roles, the junior rep, the senior rep, the player coach, where you're a leader and you also got your own target, and also a leader managing a group of individuals. I've always done strategy, different pieces of it, or what I thought was it. But I realized as I became more and more senior, I had to simplify my understanding because you had to do it and there were more eyes on it. It wasn't like your own little strategy. It was something that was going to drive an entire business unit forward or something that was going to drive the entire organization forward. And then when I got into consulting, I was like, a lot of the companies that I work with or I'm engaging with, they're thinking about strategy in the wrong way. They actually don't really understand it. They're coming to me with this, we've gone through everything and we just want this outcome. And then when I start to bring it back to strategy, they're a bit like, no, that's not important. It's not part of that. And I'm like, okay, this is not really what I thought it was going to be. All right. So as I said, we're going to go through the three pieces of strategy that's going to make you a super expert. All right. So first things first, what is strategy? The next thing is, how do we think about strategy in practice? And then the last piece is, what are the different parts that make up go to market strategy? So, where we're going to start is, what is strategy? Now, before I get into this, I've looked at all of the leading thinkers and I've started to mentalize the different ways that people think through it to make a very easy definition of what strategy is. And I believe there's two critical pieces to this, like the actual definition. So pay close attention. I'll try to go slow because I talk quite fast if you haven't noticed. You may have to watch this on 0.75. Anyways, so what is strategy? So strategy is a go-to-market strategy. And strategy is a go-to-market strategy. Strategy is a comprehensive plan that outlines how a company will sell its products or services to customers. Now, I use strategy and go-to-market strategy a little bit interchangeably here because depending on how you look at it, it's kind of the same thing, right? It's how you're bringing your products and services, your solutions to your customers. And the whole idea is to generate revenue or retain revenue. That is it. Whether you are a non-for-profit, whatever it is, you're trying to generate revenue, whether it's from donors or it's from customers, whether it's for profit or it's not. Generate and retain revenue. Now, the thing that people often get wrong with strategy is that they think about the tactics, the things that you're going to do, but it needs to be attached to something. So think of your strategy or your go-to-market strategy as the umbilical cord, right? So no matter what you're doing, there's this one cord that connects everything. My arms are up here, like I'm thinking about when I was pregnant and just imagining my son. No, so it's this umbilical cord that's connected to everything else you do. It feeds everything that you do. So that is strategy. Okay, so we've spoken about strategy. That's what it is. All right. Now, I want to go into the next level down, which I think is the second part of the definition of strategy. And I believe that this is again where people get a little bit confused and they end up thinking that they're changing their strategy every day, or they've got a new thing and they're like, oh, we're changing our strategy this quarter. It doesn't quite work like that, because remember, we've got this umbilical cord that's already connected to everything and it has to stay in line with that. We're feeding one direction with a strategy. Okay, so how do we think about strategy and practice? I believe it's a combination of two things. It's the thinking behind, where do we play and how do we win? So when we say where do we play, it's looking at the companies that you could potentially serve, or the individuals you can potentially serve, and thinking out of the big picture, the entire white space, where are we going to play? What are we going to do? How are we going to be different? And the other concept is then, how do we win? So going into where do we play, you might have heard the concept of blue ocean strategy and red ocean strategy, right? Google it, go read the book. It's incredible. It's good to give you some fundamentals with lots and lots of examples. But I digress. A red ocean strategy is, I'm coming in and I'm looking at something and saying, there's already a market that exists for this. I'm just going to come into that market and try and beat my competitors. It's already a market where people are willingly buying that solution. They already have a line item on their sort of balance sheet that says that we pay and we invest in this thing. I'm just going to go in there and hopefully I can do it better, faster, quicker, or for cheaper. The thing with that is it makes it easier to begin, but it means that you have to be very good at what you do in order to be very successful. And you have to, there's so much behind it. We're going to get into that soon. That makes that the appropriate route forward. That's the red strategy. On the blue ocean strategy side, it's Uber. It's saying, rather than me just going and creating a more comfortable taxi, or a cab, depending on where you are in the world, I'm actually going to disrupt how people think about solving that problem of getting from A to B. Okay, there's this concept that exists called convergence. And it looks like the exponential growth of different trends, macroeconomic trends, or just macro trends in the world. So Uber, a long time ago, saw the exponential growth in the use of smartphones. They saw the improved connectivity with the internet. They saw most people, this new evolution of the app store, and then they saw this increasing demand of expectations, right? So what they did is said, if we look at the convergence of all of these things, and then we look at the problems around mobility or getting from A to B, we are going to disrupt that, because we can see a new ability, a new capability that's coming out. So we're going to create an app, and we're going to go for convenience, and we're going to make it our mission to make movement something that is consistently improved upon, etc. Go read about it. But essentially, when we're talking about strategy, we have to think about, where do we play? Now, me as a consultant running a consulting firm, I opted for a more blue ocean approach, because I fundamentally believe that we don't need to spend millions and millions to get something right in our business and move the needle. And it shouldn't take years. We should be able to achieve a desired outcome much quicker. So I've gone into a space where I'm trying to disrupt that. And I'm saying, don't do all of those things. Here's a new way of doing things. It's accelerated, it's group learning, it's doing all of these things. But it's harder. It's harder because you have to be able to consistently educate the market about what it is you're doing. And you need to be in a position where you have the resources to make sure that you're helping to disrupt and educate and take individuals on a very new journey. All right. So there you have it. We have, what is strategy? The first area, the definition about how we a comprehensive plan for how we bring our products and services to our customers. And then we have the second part, where do we play and how do we win? All right. So let's move on. Now, let's think about the different parts that make up a go-to-market strategy. So yes, it's great to have an understanding, and now I know how to think about it, Hannah, but what is it? What are the things that make up a strategy? There's 12 parts, and this is something, okay, so a little humble brag. We at Revenue Funnel have a go-to-market model that we think through that helps people go through those 12 parts of strategy and what makes it up. And it's very granular with intention, and I'm going to explain why it has all of these details. I'm going to give very brief definitions of each of those, the 12 areas. The definitions and the deep dives are going to go there for another video. So let me know in the comments when I go through these 12 pieces, which part do you want me to go deeper on first? And maybe, who knows, I'll prioritize that. All right. So let's walk through the 12 parts of what make up a go-to-market strategy. So First things first, target addressable market. So a target addressable market is looking at that big space of companies or individuals that you can serve and deliver your strategy to, right? So who has the highest propensity to benefit from the solutions that you offer, right? So if we go back to Uber, anybody that needs to go from A to B, that's a lot of people, right? And then as they start to innovate inside their strategy, that one umbilical cord around movement and making it better and easier and faster and more scalable for people, then it may be like, oh, actually, we can create a little cornerstone for businesses. So they offer something for businesses, or maybe we can create a little cornerstone for the elderly. So you can start to innovate inside that, right? So the target addressable market is the people that you can sell to, either now or in the future, based on your capabilities today. All right, so next, two, the ideal customer profile and personas. So you must be thinking, but we already spoke about the people, the target addressable market. What is this? I really do believe that you have to get into the granularity so that you do understand all of the particular or the potential people that you can sell to, but then you get into the weeds of what does our ideal customer profile look like? It's great that we can sell to all of these individuals or companies, but who is our ideal profile? Ideal client profile, ideal customer profile, it doesn't matter what how you describe it, it's essentially the same thing. And then the personas are the individuals inside those ideal customer profiles that start to define. You might hear the term avatar, right? In businesses, we use personas because we know that there's like a decision making unit, what we call the DMU. There's a group of individuals that make a decision. Even if you think about individuals, right? If there's any kind of considered purchase, if you're selling, I don't know, some kind of program to an individual that costs thousands of pounds or dollars, they may say, I'm going to ask my spouse, I'm going to check with my elder kids, I'm going to check with my partner, whatever. So there's always like a collective decision. So you want to understand those personas as well. Value proposition. So value is about, the definition of value is something that is considered worthy or something that is considered important enough to somebody. And it's very subjective. And then we have proposition, which is our suggestion of a plan of action. So when you combine the value proposition, we are saying, we are suggesting this plan of action that's going to deliver this thing to you, which is worthy. And we need to understand what is that is worth it. Sorry, worthy. So we need to understand when it comes to value proposition, what is that promise? What is that proposition, that suggested plan that we are promising to our target addressable market that we're going to deliver on? And so we need to make sure that's coherent and it makes sense. All right. Next thing, distribution. It's great to have this value proposition and all these amazing people that want our solutions and services, but how do we get it to them? How do we distribute our products and services to those companies and those individuals, right? Maybe you're selling an actual physical product and you're thinking about your distribution channels. Maybe you want to use the Amazon infrastructure. Maybe you want to use some other kind of delivery partner. Maybe you sell through partners. There's various different ways that you can approach it. But distribution is effectively, what is the dotted line between you and how your products and services are delivered? Marketing and advertising. I hope we understand this, but essentially marketing is, it's all of the messaging, it's the campaigns, it's the activity, it's everything that we're doing to get and advertise and promote the buying of our solution. We want people to want what we have. And how do we do that? We need to make them aware of what's happening. We need to educate them on the different options that are available. We need to help them make a decision. And then we want them to buy over and over again. All right. Pricing and positioning. So we need to get the price right. Pricing is a huge part, right? We can get it really wrong and go way off, or we can get it really right. And then we need to position that. So depending on what kind of products and services you have, you need to think about how you're positioning it. Maybe you sell a high ticket offer or an enterprise offer to a larger organization. What does that price look like? And then how do you position that? Okay, maybe you've got some people have 12, 20, 30 thousands of products, right? So how are we positioning those? Are we grouping them together? A bit like on Amazon, where it says, I know you're buying this, but you may also want, or other people bought one of these 4 or 5 products. It's really about structuring that piece. And that's a core part of your overall strategy. Cool. So enablement. So enablement, whether you are selling to individuals or you're selling to businesses, enablement is about you improving the ability of your existing internal go-to-market teams, increasing their ability to deliver the value to customers, right? So if they are selling on the phone, if they're selling in person, What is it that is required in order to make them successful? It's about enabling, improving their ability to do something. So that is a really important part, because remember, it's the people that make up the business. And we can have a great business, but if the people aren't delivering the thing, then it makes things hard. All right. Customer support and success. Yay, our message has landed and we've got lots of customers. How do we support them? And then have we got a high touch? Have we got a low touch? So we have to think about the customer success part of our strategy. Otherwise, it's missing. And you may think, I don't look after customers. I'm not in charge of customers. I'm just a VP of sales. I'm just a head of sales. I look at direct sales. I'm the national sales director. I'm a salesperson. We need to think about what our activities up front are doing to make it easier for the customer teams to onboard customers, to get them to spend more money with us, to deliver more value, to confirm and deliver on the promise that we made in the beginning, that value proposition. So we really have to consider that in our overall strategy to make it consistent. Feedback. We need to integrate feedback in all parts of our strategy, because that is going to be the thing that informs our strategy. It's going to be the thing that helps us to say, with that umbilical cord that we have that's running through the organization, are we learning? Are we doing it the right way? Maybe we need to shift our approach slightly, still in line with the strategy, but it helps us to make our strategy more successful. Metrics, KPIs, and OKRs. We need to have numbers and things that we're measuring in order to check the efficacy, the effectiveness, the results that we're trying to drive towards. If we are not measuring it, then we are planning to fail. All right. So we need to make sure that we've got something that surrounds the strategy that allows us to measure the impact that it's having. And you're going to have metrics and OKRs in each of those different 12 elements. It's going to be 11 if you take away one. So each of those elements are going to have some kind of measuring piece, right? Measuring enablement, measuring your target addressable market, measuring the ICP and personas. Okay, so there's lots of layers to it. All right. RevOps. So I like to think of RevOps as like the ERP for go-to-market, for your go-to-market strategy, right? So you think about big technology like SAP or Oracle or whatever it is, right? And they have these enterprise resource planning tools that run your entire business, making you operationally efficient, compliant, and all those great things. Then you've got RevOps that does the same thing for your go-to-market engine. So effectively, it's helping you to measure, connect, and strategically integrate everything from opportunity to order. Now, I like people, you might hear it referred to as O2O. I actually like it to go a bit further, because now that we've integrated all of the go-to-market teams, marketing operations, sales operations, and also customer operations, then the marketing operations piece needs to go into it. So I think RevOps is effectively measuring from the moment you develop campaigns through to the moment you get cash. Okay, so I call it campaign to cash, C to C, quite like that. All right, and then last but not least, talent. So these are not in any given order, but the talent piece is critical. Okay, you need to think about the people who are going to be involved in this strategy that you have that's going to allow you to execute your vision. All right, so the strategy is tied to the vision, and these 12 things around strategy are the things that make up the go-to-market. All right, that was a lot. All right, so we've gone through what is strategy, understanding the definition. We've gone into thinking about strategy in practice. So where do we play and how do we win? Those two lenses that we really want to think through in our planning, in our research, in our team meetings when we're being asked to think about strategy. And then we've gone into the different parts that make up those 12 parts that make up go-to-market strategy. If you are here this far into the video, I said that I'm going to give you a bonus. And I didn't even, this is a lot. This is some juicy stuff, because guess what I'm going to do now? I'm going to help you with the building blocks that bring all of these different pieces together. The definition, how we think about it, the 12 parts, to make it actionable. So you can literally create a template, you can screenshot it and take that. So if you're in a new role, if you're trying to develop a 30, 60, 90-day plan, if you are being asked by the board to tell me how this all comes together, I don't understand it. You can literally use these building blocks. Say that I helped you with it. Use the building blocks to say, this is exactly our strategy in a one-page plan. And it's going to help you in how you talk about it and increase your confidence too. All right, you ready? Okay, so I'm just hoping that these slides have come together properly, because it was very quick. All right, so let's jump into it. How do we think about bringing this into an actionable plan. First things first, we have our meeting with the board, we have our meeting with leadership, and they come up with some big North Star goal. We're going to become a $10 billion business in 3 years. And you're like, woo! And it's my role to help create a strategy around that. No problem. The first thing you're going to work through in your planning, in your research, looking historically, looking at macro trends, looking at the convergence, is where will we play? Are we going to just do the red ocean strategy, which is fine? Or are we going to go big blue ocean? Are we going to go way above everything else? Or do we actually have some kind of competitive moat in how we deliver things? Like Amazon have got that infrastructure where they're like, we can get you things in an hour, so you can't beat us. So we can afford to be in a red ocean strategy, selling all the things that you're creating at a lower cost. Or are we going to approach it differently? So think about your organization. Where do we play? And then, of course, how do we win? How are we going to win this? If we're deciding that this is the market that we're going after, this is the desired outcome that we're chasing, and we're going to support customers with meeting, how do we actually go about doing this? All right. So you make that, those are the fundamental pieces. All right. You're going to love this. The next thing is, now that you've understood where you're going to play and how you're going to win, you're thinking about the people who are going to tell you if you're successful or not. And those are your buyers. The people who are going to spend money with you, spend time with you in exchange for this perceived value. So we want to understand, how do they think through these decisions? Let's go back to Uber. How they would have said, how do people think through the process of getting from A to B? They're like, I have to get somewhere. The next thing they may think of is, I need a way to get there. And then they're going to think of, I need to get there in this amount of time. And they're going to be like, now I need someone to help me do that. And I don't know exactly what time I'll be leaving, so I need to have flexibility. So they're going to go through all of those things, right? So here's an example. No, actually, that's a really good example. I'm going to move on. Yeah, I'm going to move on. All right. So the next part of these building blocks is sales process. So this is, what do we need to do to help these people, these organizations, make these decisions? So I've just used Uber as an example, saying, well, that's the thinking pattern. But let's even think about something that you experience, for me, at least 3 times a week, because I'm always shopping. You go into the supermarket or the superstore. What is the first thing as you walk through the, what are they called again? The automatic doors? I don't know why I've just had a brain fog. What's the first thing? Security. You see all these, you might see some kind of desk, but what you really see is trolleys, baskets, and things that make it easy, convenient, frictionless for you to go out and go fill up your trolley and buy things. So our sales process has to help buyers buy. So you need to think about, what is the process that I'm going to create to help buyers buy? That means that we have the most effective way of how we're going to win, and it's in line with the place that we want to play in. All right. That's your sales process. Now we're like, okay, so how can we help these people make the decisions better and faster? And that is where we get to the tactics and the things that we need to do day to day. That's going to be in how we show up. It's going to be in how we conduct things, right? As an example, back to the supermarket one, you have a trolley. What in some supermarkets is they now have they have the scanny thing. So rather than someone, so say they've got their trolley, thank you, that's a standard. That's just a standard expectation. So in sales, if you're selling, a standard expectation is that you're on time and you know what the hell the meeting's about and you know who it is that's going to be in the meeting, right? Like, you've done your research. In the B2C setting, to take it a level up, they have the scanny thing. So you've got your trolley walking around, and rather than you missing out on objects or things that you can purchase, you can scan it, check the price, and see how that price accumulates, right? So you're like, oh, wow, I set my budget at £100 or dollars. This is enough. I can do that because I've checked the price. It's added everything up for me and it's made it more convenient. So that's the methodology. That is a tactic that they deploy in stores to help you to make a decision faster and better. Okay, next thing, the teams, the people. So we've got our buyers, we understand that. We've got our sales process that's going to help the buyers buy. Now we've got methodology that help them make decisions faster and better. Now we need the people, the actual people that are going to help that. So in a store, we're talking about all the staff members that walk around and say, how can I help you? What is it you need? Aisle 7, all of those pieces. In a B2B setting, We have our sales team, our customer support team, our operations team, our marketing team, our inside sales reps, whatever it is. But we need to structure the team around our strategy. Like the team has to be structured inside the strategy. You can't just have all these people and say, I'm going to make a plan that works for them. I get it, right? The business isn't personal. It's not supposed to be. We need to build the teams that help us to facilitate all of those things below it. So you might find once you build the strategy that actually we need this very specific type of individual to help us execute this. We need someone who understands the specifics around this type of technology, because when it comes to the conversation, rather than us hiring a pre-sales engineer, which costs a lot of money, or in a store, rather than us hiring a senior person, I need someone that understands the vegan diet, right? So this, I'm just trying to give two different scenarios. So we need to find the right people that are going to execute the vision, all right? And then the last piece is the technology. So what tools and resources are actually required to activate this effectively? We know where we're going to play. We know how we're going to win. We know how they make decisions. We know the process we're going to have to make them make decisions. We've got the tactics and the things that we're going to do today to help them do it faster and better. We've got all these incredible individuals and this talent in our team. And guess what? Now we have the tools. We have the RevOps ecosystem that's going to allow us to activate this effectively, measure on it, improve it, shrink it, grow it, scale it, whatever it is. All right? So these are the building blocks. This is how this all comes together. I don't want you to feel vulnerable, or I don't want you to feel like anxiety when it comes to strategy. It's not that difficult. The thing is, nobody takes the time to get into the weeds of what is required in order to make the planning work for the execution. Everyone wants to just dive in and do the end result, but that is the thing that is going to make this all feel overwhelming. All right. So this is how you should feel now. You should feel like dancing. I don't know. When I learn something new and I'm able to get something done more effectively, I just feel like dancing. It's like my go-to emoji on LinkedIn and everything. All right. So if you like this video and you want to see more of this, please give me a comment, give me some feedback. I don't even care if you're like, you know what, Hannah, you missed the mark a little bit. That's also okay. But I just want to hear from you so I know what you need next. Okay. So we've gone through the strategy, we've gone through defining it, we've gone through the 12 parts of it, and we've gone through how you bring it all together so you look like a boss when you go into your next meeting to drive a plan. Okay, I'm Hannah Ajikawo. I'm the CEO and founder of Revenue Funnel, a consulting firm that helps organizations to grow more efficiently and also do it while having fun without spending a ton of money and delivering on the promise to their powers that be. Okay, see you in the next video. Oh, make sure you subscribe and all those other YouTubey things.